Let me ask you something honestly. How many times has this happened to you? You know exactly what you want to say, in your language. The idea is clear, the sentence is ready, the emotion is there, but when you try to say it in English, you freeze. Your brain starts working too hard. You translate word by word, you rearrange grammar, you question yourself. And by the time you're ready to speak, the moment is gone. Someone else is already talking, and later you think, I knew that. Why couldn't I say it? If that feels familiar, you are not alone. And today, we're going to fix it. Because translation is the biggest hidden reason your fluency feels slow. Not your vocabulary, not your grammar, not your accent. Translation. And once you remove it, everything changes. Why translation is slowing you down. Here's what's happening inside your brain. When someone speaks to you in English, your brain does this. Step 1, understand the message. Step 2, convert it into your native language. Step 3, build your answer in your native language. Step 4, translate that answer back into English. Step 5, check grammar. Step 6, finally speak. That's exhausting. Fluent speakers skip 4 of those steps. They hear English. They respond in English. Direct connection. No middle language. Translation feels safe, but it's slow. And real conversations don't wait for you. English conversations move fast. If your brain needs extra processing time, you fall behind. And when you fall behind, your confidence drops. Then anxiety increases. And when anxiety increases, thinking becomes even harder. This is the translation trap. The big misunderstanding. Many learners believe, if I know more vocabulary, I'll stop translating. That's not true. You can know 10,000 words and still translate. Because thinking in English is not about vocabulary size. It's about mental habit. You trained your brain for years to think in your first language. Of course, it feels automatic. English hasn't had that same training. So your brain chooses the easier path, the familiar path. But habits can be rewired. And thinking in English is a trainable skill. Not magic, not talent, not something only advanced learners can do. It's repetition and structure. Why kids learn faster. Let's talk about something interesting. Children don't translate. They don't compare grammar systems. They don't mentally convert sentences. They connect words directly to meaning. When a child hears the word apple, they don't translate it. They picture an apple. When they hear run, they imagine movement. Their brain builds direct associations. But adult learners often do this. Apple equals word in my language. Run equals word in my language. That extra step is the problem. You attached English to translation. Instead of attaching English to meaning, that's why we need to rewire those connections. And that's exactly what we're going to start doing today. The first shift. Stop translating single words. Here's your first mindset shift. Stop learning English as word equals word. Start learning English as word equals image. For example, when you hear exhausted, don't think of the equivalent word in your language. Imagine yourself after a long day, heavy body, low energy, saying, I'm exhausted. That emotional image builds a direct English connection. The more direct connections you build, the less your brain needs translation. And the less translation, the faster your responses become. Why your brain panics. Now, let's address something deeper. Why do you translate faster when you're nervous? Because under pressure, your brain looks for safety. Your native language feels safe. It feels stable. So your brain runs back to it. That's why when someone suddenly asks you a question in English, your brain switches languages instantly. Not because you don't know English, but because your brain wants control. To stop translating, you must train comfort in English. Comfort removes panic. Panic triggers translation. And that comfort comes from daily thinking practice, not from more grammar study. The real goal. The goal is not to eliminate your native language. The goal is to shorten the distance between English and your thoughts. Eventually, that distance becomes zero. You hear in English, you think in English, you respond in English, smooth, automatic, natural. And in the next part of this video, I'm going to show you the exact daily exercises that train your brain to think in English naturally, not theory, actual drills, practical routines, mental rewiring techniques. Because once you start thinking directly in English, your fluency accelerates faster than you expect. And this is where everything starts changing. So now you understand the problem. Translation is not helping you. It feels safe, but it's slowing you down. Now let's move into something practical, because awareness without action changes nothing. The 4-step daily Think in English system. If you want to stop translating, you need to retrain your brain daily. Not randomly, not emotionally, structurally. Here's the system. Step 1. Micro-thinking sessions. Start small. Don't try to think in English all day immediately. That will overwhelm you. Instead, choose 5 minutes. Just 5. During those 5 minutes, describe everything around you in English. I'm sitting at my desk. My phone is next to me. I feel a little tired. I need coffee. Simple sentences. Not impressive sentences. Simple. Your brain needs repetition, not complexity. When you do this daily, your mind starts forming English thoughts automatically. At first, it feels slow. That's normal. You're building a new neural pathway, and neural pathways strengthen with repetition. Step 2. Replace inner voice language. This step is powerful. Notice what language your inner voice uses. When you make a mistake, what do you say in your head? When you plan your day, what language do you use? That internal voice matters. So here's your upgrade. Choose common daily thoughts and switch them to English. Instead of thinking, I'm hungry in your language, say it in English in your mind. Instead of thinking, I need to hurry, say it in English. Small switches, repeated daily. Gradually, English becomes your secondary inner voice, and eventually it becomes automatic in certain situations. That's when translation begins fading naturally. Step 3. Think in phrases, not words. Here's a mistake many learners make. They try to think word by word, but fluent speakers think in chunks. For example, not I am going to, but I'm gonna, not, in my opinion, but I think. Chunks reduce processing time. If you train common phrases instead of isolated vocabulary, your brain retrieves them faster. Start building a bank of ready-to-use phrases. I'm not sure, but to be honest, the thing is, what I mean is, that makes sense. Practice saying them out loud. Practice thinking with them. When your brain has ready-made building blocks, you stop translating full sentences. You simply choose the right chunk and continue. This is how fluency feels effortless. Step 4. Remove perfection pressure. Here's something important. Translation often happens because you want to say the perfect sentence, so your brain goes back to your native language to build it perfectly first. Let that go. Imperfect English spoken confidently is more powerful than perfect English spoken late. If you simplify your ideas, you reduce translation. For example, instead of trying to say, I was contemplating whether or not I should attend the meeting, just say, I wasn't sure if I should go. Shorter sentences, cleaner structure, faster delivery. Thinking in English becomes easier when your sentences become lighter. Why? This feels hard at first. You might try these exercises and think, this feels uncomfortable. Of course it does. You are changing a lifelong habit. Your brain loves efficiency, and right now your native language is more efficient. But every time you think directly in English, even briefly, you strengthen the English pathway. And every time you strengthen it, translation becomes weaker. It's like building a new road. At first, it's narrow, rough, slow, but the more you use it, the smoother it becomes. Until one day, you naturally choose it. Not because you forced it, but because it's faster. The turning point. There's a moment in every learner's journey when something shifts. You stop asking, "How do I say this?" And you start just saying it. You stop building sentences in your first language. And ideas begin forming directly in English. That moment doesn't come from watching more videos. It comes from daily mental exposure, daily micro-thinking, daily phrase practice, daily comfort building. And here's the best part. Once you start thinking in English naturally, your confidence multiplies because hesitation disappears. And when hesitation disappears, fluency rises automatically. Your brain switches languages instantly. Not because you don't know English, but because your brain wants control. To stop translating, you must train comfort in English. Comfort removes panic. Panic triggers translation. And that comfort comes from daily thinking practice, not from more grammar study. The real goal. The goal is not to eliminate your native language. The goal is to shorten the distance between English and your thoughts. Eventually, that distance becomes zero. You hear in English, you think in English, you respond in English, smooth, automatic, natural. And in the next part of this video, I'm going to show you the exact daily exercises that train your brain to think in English naturally, not theory. Actual drills, practical routines, mental rewiring techniques. Because once you start thinking directly in English, your fluency accelerates faster than you expect. And this is where everything starts changing. So now you've started training your brain in small, controlled moments. But thinking in English alone is one thing. Thinking in English during a real conversation is another. That's where most learners struggle. Because pressure changes everything. Let's fix that. How to stop translating. During real conversations. Here's the problem. When someone is waiting for your answer, silence feels dangerous. So your brain rushes back to your native language to find safety. To stop that reaction, you need two tools: preparation and delay control. First, preparation. Most conversations are predictable. People ask about your job, your hobbies, your background, your weekend, your goals. Why are you improvising every time? Prepare short, natural answers to common questions. Practice them until they feel automatic. Not memorized like a script, automatic like a reflex. When your brain recognizes a familiar question, it doesn't panic. It retrieves. Retrieval is faster than translation. Second, delay control. You are allowed to pause. Native speakers pause all the time. Instead of freezing, use simple bridge phrases. That's a good question. Let me think. Well, I guess. These phrases buy you time. And while you're speaking them, your brain is forming the rest of the sentence in English, not in your native language. That's how you stay in English mode under pressure. How to respond. Faster speed comes from familiarity, not intelligence. If you struggle to respond quickly, it's because your brain is still building sentences from scratch. We fix that with repetition drills. Here's an exercise. Take 20 simple questions. For example, what did you eat today? What are you working on? What do you like about your city? What makes you happy? Set a timer. Answer each question immediately. No overthinking, no perfect grammar correction. Just respond, even if it's simple. I ate rice and chicken. I'm working on improving my English. I like the weather here. This trains fast thinking. You are teaching your brain that immediate response is safe. The more you practice this, the less your brain searches for your native language. Because speed builds confidence, and confidence reduces translation. Create English-only zones. You don't need to move to another country to immerse yourself. You can create English zones in your life. For example, when you're driving alone, only think in English. When you're walking, describe your surroundings in English. When you're cooking, narrate what you're doing in English. This smells good. I need more salt. I think it's ready. Small environments, controlled environments, safe environments. The more safe English environments you create, the less your brain relies on translation. Gradually, English feels normal. Not foreign, not stressful, normal. Break the emotional attachment to translation. Here's something deeper. Translation isn't just mental, it's emotional. Your native language feels connected to identity. It feels connected to childhood, to comfort, to safety. So when you feel nervous, your brain runs there automatically. To think in English naturally, you must build emotional comfort in English too. That means positive exposure. Speak with supportive people. Watch content that excites you. Read topics you enjoy. When English becomes associated with enjoyment instead of pressure, your brain stops resisting it. And when resistance drops, thinking becomes smoother. The silent breakthrough. There will be a day when you notice something surprising. You're watching a video, and you don't translate. You just understand. You're having a conversation, and your answer comes instantly, not perfectly, but naturally. That's the silent breakthrough. It doesn't feel dramatic. It feels light, effortless. That's when you know your brain is rewiring. But to reach that point, you must stay consistent, because translation is a habit built over years, and habits fade through repetition, not motivation. Your brain switches languages instantly, not because you don't know English, but because your brain wants control. To stop translating, you must train comfort in English. Comfort removes panic. Panic triggers translation, and that comfort comes from daily thinking practice, not from more grammar study. The real goal. The goal is not to eliminate your native language. The goal is to shorten the distance between English and your thoughts. Eventually, that distance becomes zero. You hear in English, you think in English, you respond in English, smooth, automatic, natural. And in the next part of this video, I'm going to show you the exact daily exercises that train your brain to think in English naturally, not theory, actual drills, practical routines, mental rewiring techniques. Because once you start thinking directly in English, your fluency accelerates faster than you expect. And this is where everything starts changing. Now we're at the most important part, because understanding the problem is one thing. Practicing small exercises is another, but fully rewiring your thinking pattern requires identity shift and consistency. This is where most learners either transform or quit. Let's make sure you transform. Advanced mental rewiring technique. Your brain chooses the fastest path available. Right now, your native language is still the fastest path for complex thinking, so instead of fighting it directly, we gradually reduce its role. Here's how. For the next 30 days, choose one area of your life where English becomes default. Not everything, just one area. For example, work-related thoughts, fitness-related thoughts, daily planning, or self-reflection at night. Pick one. During that activity, force yourself to think only in English. If you get stuck, simplify. Don't switch languages. Simplify. Instead of complex sentences, use shorter ones. Your brain adapts to what you repeat. If you consistently use English in that one area, your brain will assign English as the primary language for that context. That's how bilingual minds organize language, by domain, not by total replacement. The 3-layer thinking upgrade. If you really want to stop translating permanently, train these 3 layers. Layer 1, reaction words. These are automatic responses like, really? No way. That's crazy. I get it. Makes sense. Exactly. Practice them until they become reflex. These reduce hesitation instantly in conversation. Layer 2, personal opinion frames. Build automatic starting phrases like, I think, I feel like, in my experience, from what I've seen. When your brain has ready starting points, it doesn't search in your native language. It continues forward. Layer 3, story blocks, train short story structures. For example, first, then, after that, finally. These connectors allow your brain to build narratives directly in English. When you master these 3 layers, conversation becomes smoother naturally. How long does this take? Let's be realistic. If you practice daily for 30 days, you will notice change. If you practice daily for 90 days, you will feel transformation. If you practice daily for 6 months, thinking in English will feel normal in many situations. Not because you forced it, but because repetition created speed. Speed replaced translation, and speed builds confidence. The timeline depends on consistency, not talent, not background. Consistency. The confidence multiplier. Here's what most people don't realize. Once you stop translating, your confidence increases automatically because hesitation drops. And when hesitation drops, anxiety drops. When anxiety drops, your brain works faster. When your brain works faster, your speech improves. Everything connects. Translation is not just a language issue. It's a confidence barrier. Remove it, and everything else improves faster. Accent, fluency, listening, conversation flow. All of it. The 30-day no translation challenge. Here's your action plan. For the next 30 days, 5 minutes of micro-thinking daily, 5 minutes answering random questions instantly, 5 minutes narrating your actions during routine tasks, 5 minutes reviewing and simplifying your thoughts in English, 20 minutes total, every day. No skipping. And here's the rule. When you catch yourself translating, don't get frustrated. Just reset. Switch back to English. Every reset strengthens the habit. The identity shift: stop saying, "I'm trying to think in English." Start saying, "I'm someone who thinks in English." Identity changes behavior. Behavior changes habits. Habits change fluency. You are not becoming fluent one sentence at a time. You are becoming fluent one identity shift at a time. When English stops feeling foreign in your mind, it starts feeling natural in your mouth. The final truth. You don't need to eliminate your first language. You need to reduce dependency. You don't need to become perfect. You need to become comfortable. Fluency is comfort under pressure, and comfort comes from repetition. If you commit to daily mental training, you will experience the shift. One day you'll notice you responded instantly. One day you'll realize you didn't translate. One day you'll catch yourself dreaming in English. That's when you know it's working. Your brain switches languages instantly. Not because you don't know English, but because your brain wants control. To stop translating, you must train comfort in English. Comfort removes panic. Panic triggers translation. And that comfort comes from daily thinking practice, not from more grammar study. The real goal. The goal is not to eliminate your native language. The goal is to shorten the distance between English and your thoughts. Eventually, that distance becomes zero. You hear in English, you think in English, you respond in English, smooth, automatic, natural. And in the next part of this video, I'm going to show you the exact daily exercises that train your brain to think in English naturally, not theory, actual drills, practical routines, mental rewiring techniques, because once you start thinking directly in English, your fluency accelerates faster than you expect. And this is where everything starts changing. If this masterclass opened your eyes to what's really been slowing you down, then that's powerful. Because now you don't just know more English, you understand how your brain works. On English Talk Every Day, we don't just teach language. We train thinking, we build confidence, we create real communicators. If you're serious about thinking in English naturally, commit to the 30-day challenge. Stay consistent, stay patient, and most importantly, keep thinking in English. I'm Elena, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Your fluency is closer than you think.